Yo, it is another edition of the High Hopes podcast. Jack Fritz, James Seltzer, been a little while. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. We got a lot to get into tonight. The Phillies made some signings since we last talked. But let's start with the most important thing. And we're going to talk a lot about the Phillies yearbook here because for the first time in the history of the show, I actually watched one. So that's an exciting thing. But I got to start at the top with the thing that's most on my mind right now.
Super.
Yes. An hour and 10 minutes, the Phillies yearbook. It was delightful. I enjoyed all of it. I may have cried multiple times. Gotta say, little disappointed we weren't in it. I'm just saying. Leaders of the movement, it's not like we said that. Other people have said that. And, so I don't know. That's how I come into tonight. A little muted a little muted feel. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to you. I'm excited it's a new year and potentially a year we win the World Series. That's on the table. A little disappointed tonight, Jack. How you doing, buddy?
Well, it's not even that. It is the fact that it's the fact that a guy named Elliot Shore-Parks, who, if you are not aware, some would say is a journalist. Frankly, I don't. I would say it's more of a personality, like an Eagles personality. More than anything.
An entertainer, you might say.
Yeah, I mean, sure. What is definitively true about Elliot Shore-Parks is that he doesn't like baseball that much. And for years, Phillies, who cares, blah, blah, blah. They're like the 8th most popular team in the city. Blah, blah, blah.
Union. People like the Union more than the Phillies.
And the second they go on a run and he opens his eyes to how great baseball is in the city of Philadelphia and how great it is when they're winning and how much it takes over the city. He comes on with this thirsty take on, I guess it was Go Birds. I don't listen to that show.
Well, that's the annoying part is it's Elliot Shore-Parks. And all I get, I go totally. I'm the totally guy. It's like you couldn't say what I said, but we couldn't take my thing before. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Well, they probably thought it was gonna be like copyright infringement because they were like, I didn't know Charlie Day did a Eagles podcast.
Yeah, it's gonna be too difficult to clear this with Charlie Day's people. Let's just use the other guy. It's a good point.
So, but I just. The wrong guy got rewarded is my main point. To boil this all down, I don't need to, beat around the bush and get cute. The wrong guy was rewarded. The wrong guys were rewarded. This is a man who, no backbone when it comes to the baseball. And he has this thirsty take of that's the greatest single Phillies sporting event of my entire life, which is like, relax. I mean, not really, I get the 0-1 game 1, whatever. There's so many games in 07 through 11. There was Deshaun Jackson punt return.
Yeah, they won the freaking World Series.
They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and the Super Bowl. I mean, come on.
To see such a
since Iverson, come on.
Listen, I know that people are going to listen to this, and Elliott's probably going to listen to it and say, "Oh, you're just being salty." Yeah, I am. There's no doubt about it. There's no freaking doubt about it. I'm salty about it. So now that was not in the Phillies. That was
the World Series video. Yes,
DVD. And you and I are both big fans of Neighbor Dan.
Love Neighbor Dan. It's our guy.
Frankly, we would have known about this if we hadn't sent it along. So
it's good looking out. And I will say, I think it's important that we knew, though, don't you think? Like, we don't want to go around being ignorant to the fact that other people are hearing this and thinking like, oh, wow. We need to be able to respond to it. Like that. I'm appreciative that this was alerted.
Here's what I want to say is like, I don't want, the Phillies fan that might not listen to this podcast, which is absurd, to have heard what Elliot said and thought, that's my guy, because he's not your guy. Like, I just being completely honest, he's not your guy. If you follow him on Twitter, you're not going to see one tweet about the Phillies ever. And I bet you $100 he couldn't name two of the teams that Craig Kimbrel's been a part of in his entire tenure before being a Philly. So it was massively, massively disappointed. Now back to the Phillies yearbook. So first off, I want to give you a nice pat on the back. I am proud of you for finally watching.
It was great. What a delight.
Yeah. And
well,
maybe this
but I will say, if you're gonna, because I'm gonna let you continue here, but I will say,
super,
if you're giving me
that'd be nice.
give me the pat on the back, which I appreciate and I deserve. I mean, frankly, I will say that, and I loved it. I'm even more emboldened in my belief now that watching those for like 2017 and 2016 is like maniac behavior, like psychopath behavior. And I love you and I love Neighbor Dan and any other psycho. You're a psychopath for what? It was delightful because it was that year. Like, what a tragedy it would be to watch that, like 2013 video yearbook.
Come on.
Like I can't. There are 10,000 things I'd rather do. So anyway, continue. I appreciate the praise, but like, you're a psycho. That's my real takeaway from it for watching those other years. Go ahead.
Wouldn't be the first time. Here's my position. They make you feel it 10 times more. Yeah. You gotta see, this is my whole thing. And this has been my take for a while. Championships aren't that fun.
This, for what it's worth, this is actually a true Jack Fritz thing. Like, this is something he believes.
Like, going through and being part of the buildup and the heartbreak and the torture and the this is why do I waste my time, and like every September collapsing and all the hope that you would have heading into a season, all for it to be freaking collapsed, and then you finally break through. And that's why it felt so special. And I know there's a lot of people that jumped on the playoff bandwagon. I understand it.
Welcome aboard. Unlike Jack, I'm very happy to have you here.
I've come around.
You did. After your gatekeeper thing, you've softened your stance, we'll say.
Yeah, I did.
I love you. Like, you literally were like, I will be the gatekeeper.
Watch the 2018 video yearbook for me one time. Know where we've come from. Before you start, it's really about the takes that, like, it's really the strong opinions from people who I noticed started watching last week. That was more. Yeah, that was more my problem.
And honestly, I believe this to my core. Of every human I know, there is no one who is bothered by that more. Like, that is your number one. This drives me crazy type of thing. Is that fair to say?
I would say so.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's why I don't like saying "Go Birds." It's because it's because these people from high school who I know couldn't name 5 Eagles from 2000 on.
Yeah.
We're back to
gatekeeping. We're back to gatekeeping.
Go Birds.
We've come right back to this. Yeah.
I know. Well, it's not gatekeeping. It's just a minor annoyance. But I like going through and reliving it so that I have a mental note in the back of my head of, like, I've seen this before. I remember what happened here. I remember what happened here. Is this going to happen again? It's all about historical background on our favorite baseball team.
Look at you.
So,
it's work. It's work.
This
is just you're just preparing yourself to be the ultimate Phillies guy.
Wow.
And I appreciate that.
And so this year's yearbook, it was awesome. I wish it was 2 hours. Like, yeah. I wish the first.
I mean, the playoffs should have been an hour long. Like, it was like
play the games.
I know it was like 45. It was less than half of it was the playoffs, and I know that proportionally it's but you could have shown way more of the playoff stuff.
Well, and the one thing that I would have liked is it's probably harder now. Like, with there's still like COVID and I think it's probably harder than it was like back in the day. But like some behind the scenes stuff, like in the clubhouse,
and a little more like there was a narrative, but it was very choppy. You know, it's basically like, all right, we started okay, and then it was kind of bad, and then we got good, and then Bryce got hurt. I mean, they didn't even show the Bryce injury, which I thought was a weird choice. Like, they just kind
They
of
didn't play the
talked about
Michael
it.
Bourne clip.
They didn't play any
mean,
of that
come
stuff.
on.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, there were so many spots where it felt like, all right, you could have like stretched. And I understood they kind of jumped over the bad stuff. Like, fine, I get that. Like, I'm cool.
Some of us,
like,
it
was like
wanted to
World
feel
Series
it
no
again.
hitter, and then the next game was Aaron Chas McCormick made the catch. It was like, yeah, okay. But like, I get it. But I'm so with you. There were a lot of things that I thought really could have been fleshed out more. And I understand that it's on YouTube. Like, who cares? People are either going to watch it or they're not. It's not like you have to buy airtime or anything like that. It's not like it's on freaking NBC Sports Philly and you're like, you have an hour to make this. This is the time slot, or it's on NBC or whatever. Like, why not give us more? Why not blow it out? Especially this. I understand if it's an hour and 10 minutes when it's, 2013 or 2017 or whatever, but give us 2 hours, give us 2.5. It can't be enough as far as I'm concerned.
Picture. Yeah, make it a motion picture. Have a day down at the ballpark where everyone can come watch it. I mean, I guess it was like 25 degrees when they released it, so probably not like the best idea. I will say this. It is good, and it's important. Maybe the most important part of this whole thing, James, is that it's going to replace like all the bad or the overused rain delay theater. So,
that's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's a great point, actually. The Harper sign and stuff and all that. Yeah.
If I was the producer, not that I am one that produces,
no,
but if I am putting it as rain delay theater, I am fast forwarding through the first 45 minutes.
Oh my God. That's my whole point. Like, the first 45 minutes is until we get to like the game in Houston, I just don't care. Like, you could throw in a couple, like the Hader one was fun. The Veerling hit against Toronto with the 4-game or 5-8 game. Like, that was fun. Like, there are moments I was like, oh yeah, that was cool. But just give me the playoff run. Just make it the playoff run. That's all I need.
That and like, I don't know. I thought game 1 in the Cardinal series was pretty important, and it kind of felt like it just happened.
Well, they all did. They showed like a highlight or two from those games, and yes, they were big ones and stuff, but it was like there was so much more. There was so much like it didn't feel like it was telling me the story as much as just giving me highlights. And the highlights were awesome, and there were so many great ones, but it didn't feel as narrative driven as much as just like this happened, then this happened, then this happened. You know what I mean?
It was funny though, like when the Gene hit went through and they were playing the Fransky calls and stuff. I had this like, producer brain in the back of my head where I could just hear the overmodulation, and it was like,
well, you know what's funny is
no one could fix it, dude. Like, it was so bad that even like professional video yearbook, like MLB, no one could fix how overmodulated Fransky and LA were for that moment
because they were so excited. And it's funny too because they also cut it before. It's the one moment in the whole run. It's because it's the first one. I think it's because he's so excited and he's back there. It's the one moment where Fransky, as he's making a big call, has like it's the most minor stoppage, but he has like almost when he's saying it's a three run. Do you know what I mean? We've heard this clip so many times, but it's like the one moment where he kind of like stops for a second because he's so excited. Like, he's so like, I can't believe I'm back here. And every other call is like perfect from then, and they cut it before. It was I was expecting it, but it was they producer break.
Yeah. All this talking is just really. I want to go back. Like,
I mean, I took notes. I did the whole thing.
I know.
I will say, not, it's not all good vibes because it was fun, but I really, honestly, as I was watching it, like, I kept thinking of you. I kept thinking of you, the pod we did when they lost the World Series. And now we were both down, but you kept talking about, man, this was so special. And it's so hard to have this kind of thing happen. I was like, as much as I loved it, I was crying, I was nearing it. I did feel that, like, bleep, man, like, we didn't win. Like, this feels like it should be a World Series winning yearbook, right? Like, as I'm watching, I'm like, this is all, even the way they talked, they're like, we knew what our goal was. We knew we had to get there. We only had this way more. Like, the whole time it's all about winning the World Series. Then it's like, oh, we came up 2 games short. And like, they did, and it is what it is. But I felt it, man. Like, I felt that, like, we were right there. We had it. We had the freaking, like, I felt it again. And it was awesome to watch, but I also did feel that pain again, man. I felt the pain again, like, really felt it.
Well, you weren't the only person that said that to me. There was a lot of people that were like, we should have won. Like,
Yeah.
and I think the further and further that we get removed from it, I think we're gonna start having that feeling more and more. Where it's like, dude, they're up 2-1 in the World Series.
Yeah.
Like, they're up 2-1 in the World Series, and they should have won Game 5. Like, you can't convince me otherwise. They should have won Game 5. I rewatched it the other day. You want to talk about having a
Wow,
sickness?
that's
Yeah,
tough.
I rewatched it.
I could rewatch the game, but I think I would fast forward through the Marsh at bat, the Hoskins play, and the Jazz catch. I was like, oh, time to fast forward. Nothing happened here. Just keep going. Like I don't think I'm ready for those. And the Hoskins at bat. Like I don't think I'm ready for those games.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
proud of you. That's tough.
yeah, well, it was when I was on vacation and they were MLB Network was like replaying all the games or whatnot. I did not watch Game 6. Nope.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
No.
Ah,
No.
God, I had forgotten in watching thing where Schwarber. I mean, dude, that guy hit so many big homers to start off. Like he just was like, all right, we need a homer to start this one. Got you guys, no problem. Like it was,
dude.
pretty wild, man.
The 2-homer game in Houston to
clinch. It was the only 2 runs. Like we don't talk about that enough. You're so right. Like and there's a 45th and 46 or whatever to lead.
Stott had a homer, right? I think Stott had a homer in that game.
Was it 3-0 in that one? Okay, yeah. Either way, I thought it was 2. It might have been Stott too, but either way, like, man, the dude just had so many settle down. I got this moments. It was really that was one of my big takeaways from rewatching. It was just kind of how much Schwarber just kind of went out and really set this team on a path, on a night-to-night basis. Honestly, as someone who's been very staunch and like Trey Turner should be the leadoff hitter. Like I've been there. It's kind of made me watching the yearbook. I'm not kidding. It's kind of made me go back and be like, I don't know, actually. Like when you start off the game with a bomb, like there's something to that. There's something like that really gets it going for you.
I probably should stop saying this stat until I like figure out what it is, but I'm like,
I love that.
I'm pretty sure that you win 70% of the ball games where you start up 1-0. So like, what gives you the best chance to go up 1-0?
Yeah, it's a great point.
The
first at bat, yeah, do it. That's good.
Yeah. So you like teams are just trying to find the best way to go up 1-0, whatever. Regardless, you know what moment I think I'm gonna keep going back to is like an underrated, unbelievable moment that like I'll never forget it.
So let me guess, because I wrote one down because I have a similar moment. Is it during the season or a playoff moment?
It's during the playoff run,
okay. So I have a season moment that we talked about a lot when it happens. But I go in the video yearbook I went back to, and it really was a special moment. Go ahead, you go first.
Okay, so like it's gonna be one of those moments where everyone's going to talk about the Schwarber homer in San Diego. Everyone's going to talk about the Hoskins 2-homer game, the Hoskins bat spike, all the moments, right? But the moment for me that honestly makes me the most happy is the Stott double against the Braves, where and why I think it matters so much to me is for years, you and I and our listeners, we would tell people about the CBP roar. And like it's just that little different, like extra level of oomph that you just don't hear everywhere, And I've heard it at some level. Like I think Yankee Stadium back in the day had that little extra loudness.
Fenway in the early 2000s had it. Like there are spots,
There are spots. Like I think a couple of the Correa walk off, not against us, but obviously not because he wasn't there. But there's some moments where it's like there it is. But the Stott double.
Yeah, it was the first one. It was the first game.
10 years
first run. Yeah,
10 years since our last 11 years since our last home playoff game. The loudest moment probably since like what the Howard homer off Loesch. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I mean, since game 1 against Cardinals in some form or another, probably.
But just the roar and LA going, listen to this place, and like it was just. I'm always gonna remember.
And a great at bat too.
Oh,
and a great at bat. And
it was the Myers at bat.
Yeah, it was the Myers bat. No, it's a great one. I was thinking more going back to rewatching the Alec Bohm moment and just how cool that was. The way they show it with the him saying I believe and hate this place, and then the comments after and owning it, and then the cheer. Like it really was like a beautiful little story in 3 parts or whatever. And people tweet that crap or whatever. Like it felt like I bleep and hate this place. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I don't hate this place. Standing ovation. Like it was just like a really it was like, man, like that was cool as hell, dude, because it was such a, and look, I think the fans, and look, they hype it up in the video, they do that montage for them where it's like the fans, where Dombrowski and Harper and all those guys. But like it was just because like the playoff stuff, and I want to get CBP because it's the best part of the yearbook is CBP. I mean, there's just no question. It's unbelievable. It's just as amazing as it was. But I thought that was a cool moment early in the year that was just a symbol to everyone of the type of fans that Philly fans are and what we are and how we go about our business. And I thought it was just so perfectly encapsulated in that like 1 minute and 3 shots or whatever. I thought it was great,
Yeah. And, it kind of takes you back and it makes you like Alec Boehm even more. Like
even more, dude.
I've never seen an athlete be that well. I mean, I'm sure I have, but like he was so real. He's real. He's authentic.
You can see it on his face. You can, as he's talking, you like feel it, like the nerves, but also the like, I'm owning this. Like it was so real.
Yeah,
it really was.
Yeah. You really felt bad for the guy, but
well, that's the thing is, as I was watching him own it, like I was reminded of how young he is. Like it felt like I'm looking at him, I'm like, man, like you're a kid who just got in it with Philadelphia. Like Philadelphia, you just got in it and you're like owning it and you're nervous and you're whatever. I had a lot of feels during it. I really did. I probably welled up like 15 times. I was a mess there. At one point I was like out and out bawling during it. So yeah, it was great.
Wow. That's a lot. I don't think I might have welled up.
Not like you might have welled up. It was like 10 times. Are you kidding me? They were like, I kept going like, oh god. Like you do none of that? What are you, a robot?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I might have to play. I don't know. I watched all the clips like all throughout after. Like
I know.
I'll rewatch it.
Yeah, I was feeling it, dude.
It was a little late. It was a little late at night when I got back.
Yeah, I was emotional. I felt it.
Well, you're an emotional guy.
That's true.
Yeah, you got
if one of the two of us were more likely to cry during it, it would be me. That is without a doubt. So
well, yeah. So overall,
yes,
I miss it a lot.
It made me want baseball back. And how about the Trey Turner shot at the end too? The nice little tease where they're like, and we have an ownership that's willing to go out, and they shot at Trey Turner. So I was like, man, Trey Turner's a Philly. How cool is that? Like it was a nice little add-on at the end. Couple other things, and we'll move on to actual baseball talk. Couple other things from it that I thought stood out. CBP again, just to hammer home, like especially having been there for so many of those, to watch it and just see it on TV and the noise and the crowd and just how freaking cool it was. Like it really is special. Like that is something that none of us will ever forget. And it was really, it was the best environment I've ever been a part of.
It was so much like 08 from that standpoint.
Exactly. Like, it was even better. I'm telling you. Man.
Even better
I was
than
at
08?
those games, dude. I wasn't at World Series games, but I was at games in 08. I was at games that whole run. Like maybe it's just because it had been so long and I'm older and all that it felt better to me. But in terms of just pure loudness, pure roar, I think it was louder in 2022. I really do.
Well, we did have to wait 11 years with pent up.
That's what I mean. I think that was part of it. Yeah. And then my last thought. Two last thoughts. One being, we don't talk enough about the rain before the Harper homer and how that set the whole thing up. Seriously, I forgot about it again. And we talked about it at the time, but like in hindsight, thank God, it set up the best moment of the whole run. Like, thank you for that. It's awesome. But we don't talk about enough about how effed up that if we lose that game, if we go to San Diego and lose, like we're looking back at that as like Jabba Chamberlain with the Nats or whatever it was, including like all these moments where you're like, that ruined it. The rain delay in Indians, Cubs, like Guardians, Cubs now, but Indians at the time, all that. And then the last thing is just having heard when they when they played Harper when he was announcing. Bryce Harper could step into the announcing booth right now and be the best announcer in the sport. He's phenomenal. Dude, he runs circles around Alex Rodriguez. The one time he announced he's that much better. Like it's his love of the game, his knowledge of the history of the game, his ability to talk about the game in a approachable way. I know I thought it at the time when I heard it, but listening to that stuff, I was just Bryce Harper, and I'm sure he doesn't need to be. He's got 330 million reasons that he doesn't need to do
Tom
that.
Brady
Loves the game. You never know. He could do it right now. He could step in and be the best in the sport right now. I believe that's my core.
And people forget during that broadcast, Bryce said that Trey Turner is his favorite player in the league. And here we are. And Trey Turner is a Philly. So that's everyone needs to be reminded every once in a while that Trey Turner is a Philly. Yes. And you bring up the Harper homer. I just still can't believe that they didn't bring in Josh Hader. Like it's
unbelievable.
It's got to be up there at the worst managerial decisions of all. And I know that Robert Suarez hadn't allowed a homer to a lefty all year, but it's just like that is insane.
I think it's the like looking back at the whole run. I think it's still the biggest like I can't believe it moment of the run. Or like how did that happen? You know,
besides pulling Wheeler and Gabe Sacks.
Honestly, I agree that that's close. I actually think not putting Hader in is more indefensible. Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I really do. Like, and like definitively more, you know?
Well, it's that. It's what was it? AJ Hinch not bringing in Garrett Cole.
It was that leaving what's his name in Helsley in to just flounder the Cardinal. Like there were so many of those spots.
Well, right? Pulling Quintana. I mean, pulling Quintana.
Another one. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Oliver Marmol.
I think Marmol's bad. I think Oliver Marmol is a bad manager.
Well, listen, not all of us have the baseball experiences of Rob Thompson on our side.
That's true. So. Oh, by the way, two quick questions. Two last things about the yearbook, but they both relate to you. They're both questions for you. One, hearing Topper said 8 trillion times in that thing, and then reiterating how many more Topper or this many Topper, the whole thing. How many more JT? This many Topper. Like, it's a pretty big L for you. Do you feel that as you listen every time you're like, oh, it should be Tomper, but I lost. I'm an idiot. I thought it was Tomper. It was Topper. I was wrong. Like, is that hard to deal with on a day-to-day basis? That big an L?
I can't be more thrilled that you keep bringing this up. I really, it's just I love talking about this so much. I don't know how much more clear I have to make myself. Like, first off, didn't notice it, so thanks for ruining the yearbook.
You will next time you watch.
And second off, I don't know how many times I have to tell you. I understand that some of them call him Topper, but real baseball players would call him Tomper. That's just how it is, man. Like, you little media nerds who never played the game can call him Topper.
Media nerds.
Us real baseball players know that it's Tomper. So that's my official position. I didn't notice it. You have ruined the yearbook for me, and you know how much I love the yearbook, and I don't appreciate it at all. So congratulations. You've ruined my holidays.
Yeah. Well, then I want to ask you the second one.
No, ask it.
It's going to be how jealous of you of the Bryson Stott kid that he was in like 3 different scenes and got interviewed in the yearbook and you couldn't get in it. And leader of a movement, and they got this kid in there for like 3 scenes.
The truth of the matter is that the Phils don't appreciate us.
I know. And it's a shame because they are where they are. I'm not going to say totally because of us, but at least partially because of us. So,
Yeah. We'll remember it when you're in your next World Series run, 10 years from now.
Well, that's optimistic. You think so? Trend say it won't be that soon.
I will say I was at a speaking engagement last night, and so, like, a lot of people asked me like, oh, you think the Phils are going to win the World Series this year? And it's like, I always say, like, it's really freaking hard.
No,
man.
I don't.
Like,
I mean, they're also not going to have Bryce Harper for the first 3-1 season. Who knows how long it takes him to get ready to roll. Let
me tell you something. Let me tell you something, pal. Being completely honest with you. Off-season Jack has no idea that Bryce Harper it hasn't even crossed my mind that Bryce Harper won't be there for opening day. Like, it's so not a thought of mine that I'm gonna have to watch like 80 games of baseball without Bryce Harper involved in them.
I know.
Like, I can't emphasize enough how much I just think he's playing opening day. So until
Love
he's
it.
not
It's a good
in
take.
the opening day lineup, I'm gonna assume he's in the opening day lineup if that's
Love
okay.
I'm good with it. Hey, you know who's going to be in the opening day lineup?
Trey
Turner. Yeah. All right. Baseball.
Right around the half hour mark is about when we get into
like,
some
right on brand here. Right on brand.
the
Yeah.
guy the Phillies signed that I'm sure people want to hear our thoughts on.
Yeah. Oh, you mean slider guy? No, we'll get to slider guy. Let's start with Craig Kimbrel. They signed Craig Kimbrel, Jack. Honestly, in the last, I don't know, I want to say like 10 years of Phillies, has there been a more predictable signing in the history of the last decade of baseball than Craig Kimbrel eventually ending up on Dave Dombrowski's Phillies? We've been talking about it for years. It finally happened, Jack. He's here.
Oh, lock of the century. I mean, the lock of the entire world was that Craig Kimbrel becomes available. He's a free agent. And, you know, I tweeted this, but I feel like it's better to explain on this podcast. Again, this is not confirmed. I don't know if it's true or not, but I just envisioned Dave Dombrowski like walking to wherever the analytics people are, like wherever Ani and the superstars are. And he walks in and he's like, please, like,
can I just have one, guys? Just
like,
one.
just let me get one of my guys. Just throw
me a bone. Throw me a bone.
Yeah, you know, and to their credit, Ani and the group over there, the last couple of years they gave him 2. You know, so a couple of years ago was Chase Anderson and Matt Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was Jared Familia, Brad Hand. Corey Knebel, I'll give him a break on. Like,
I think Corey Knebel, anyone would have signed. Yeah.
But I mean, Familia and Hand were just masterclass. So this year they were like, we'll give you one. And then, you know, they were sitting there at their desk and they were like, he's going to say Craig. 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 He's going to say Craig.
Just get him for less than like 6. Okay, Dave, can you make it under 6?
Fine, we'll sign him for 10. Fine.
Yeah, I gave him 10, guys.
Fine. Look at his postseason numbers. Oh, wait, he wasn't on the roster.
Do you guys realize this is one of the best closers in the history of the sport? Okay,
he's the modern saves leader. Why don't you nerds? He's
6 away from 400. Okay, 6 away.
You can't get that kind of. You can't get that kind of experience just, you know, lying around. You can't get that. Well, what are you gonna do? Go get a guy with stuff and mold him into a closer?
Oh,
no.
What a thought.
Let me get a guy that is routinely choked in big spots for a long time, and that when I won a World Series wasn't even the freaking closer when he was actually at his prime.
I mean, so they had to make Chris Sale close games. Like
Nathan Eovaldi.
Eovaldi's
been closing. Like
Eovaldi too.
It's just like, you know, and honestly, it's been this way.
I think he would have learned from that. He like literally lived that.
James, it has been this way since the Phillies got to him in 2011 at the end of the year, where all he had to do was shut them out, and that team is in the postseason. But no, he couldn't shut down the Phillies, and then the Cardinals got in and ruined the 2011 Phillies. Craig Kimbrel has been coming. Craig Kimbrel has been blowing big games forever. It's what he does. He's never been reliable in the postseason. Like, I mean, sure, he'll have some good years, like, because he's nasty and he's had great stuff, but like, he's never been a great postseason pitcher. He's just been like, so he's a Philly, and that's exciting.
So it's fine. You know, my one of my core beliefs as a sports fan / talker is that there's no such thing as a bad 1-year contract.
What about Familia last year? Is that a bad 1-year
I was just
contract?
Yes, it was. It turned out it was. This is testing my limits too. Look, I think it's fine. 10 million's a lot. Like, if you had asked me, independent of the Phillies, what do you think Craig Kimbrel was signed for? I would have said like 6 or 7. I would have been like, yeah, you know, like the Familia deal last year. Like, sure. You know, I think that seems fair. 10 million for Craig Kimbrel? I think he's fine. I think he's fine. It's fine to have Craig Kimbrel in your bullpen. Don't let him close big games. I mean, that's really what has come down to it. And if I had to bet, I'm assuming he's going to be like the de facto closer. I think they will do matchup stuff and all that, but I think he's most likely to close, right? I need him not to close big games. Like I need Topper to be down to go to Sir Anthony or whatever in those spots. It's a fine signing. There are a lot of other guys I would have rather had. It's the first move this offseason where I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm really happy. I love Trey Turner. I love Taiwan. I'm happy with this time. Matt Stram, super psyched. Like, it's okay. It's not the worst move ever, but it's a 1-year deal. Like, whatever.
I don't like that his career ERA in the postseason is 4.13.
Especially for how nasty he is. Like, you think about how talented that guy is, it's absurd that his ERA is that
high. So here's my thing. Here's what I like about it. Okay. What I like about it is you are getting a guy that does have, his velocity is down a little bit. The slider's not as sharp as it was, but you're getting a guy who still throws 95 to 97 ish, that still has wipeout slider, stuff like that. You're getting him off of probably his worst year. I mean, he was left off a postseason roster. Like the Dodgers left him off the postseason roster. So I think you're getting a motivated Craig Kimbrel, which I think is important.
And he was great 2 years ago. Like 2 years ago, he was really good. So he's only one season removed from having a really nice season.
And it seems like he goes good year, bad year, good year, bad year, good year, bad year. So maybe he goes good year for us this year. It's a 1-year deal, whatever. It's fine. Gelb wrote a whole article about how like he doesn't think he's going to be the closer. He thinks that, they're going to go, whoever and play matchup 7, 8, 9 and get through a game. And while like, I see his point. I don't agree. Like I think Kimbrel's the closer, and
I do too.
Because I think it's essentially what they wanted out of Knebel. I think he's replacing Knebel, and they want to make him the closer. And I think they want to have Sir Anthony Alvarado be able to come in before that, and then give the ninth to Kimbrel. And maybe some nights it's like, okay, the heart of the order is batting in the ninth, and we'll give it to Sir Anthony or whatever. But I'm walking into the season expecting Craig Kimbrel to be the closer. Like I think he's going to be the closer. So that's worrisome. He was good in the first half of last year. Good a couple years ago with the Cubs. It was a disaster with the White Sox when they tried to make him like Liam Hendricks setup guy. Like if your idea is that you want to go get a guy that is flexible 7, 8, 9, then get a guy that's done it. Like Kimbrel's never done it, like and done it well. I mean, I think 580 of his 700 some innings in baseball have been in the ninth inning. So if I would have preferred a flexible guy, and I just don't think he's that flexible. So again, it's okay, it's fine. I'm not like super psyched about it. I think there's a chance to bounce back off of a down year. I think he's gonna be the closer. I'm not buying they're gonna keep rotating him in and out. Like I don't think that's gonna be the case. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope it works out. But I'm not like super psyched about it.
Yeah, we're in the exact same place about it, like literally exactly the same. So the bullpen as a whole, because I think we feel really good about the lineup, and obviously when Harper comes back, we feel unbelievable about the potential of that lineup. And I think the starting rotation, especially with the potential of Andrew Painter on the horizon, is exciting, though there's still a little light in terms of the depth at that spot. But I think you look at the pen, and I think there are real questions. Sir Anthony, I think we feel great about. Alvarado, we feel great about, but let's also remember it's literally just 3 months of elite production from him, and he's in the minors as the video yearbook reminded me halfway through that season. So it's not something we can call a lock. It's a lot of question marks in the bullpen, and I think more than anything, not a ton of depth. I think we've talked about Griff McGarry as a potential salve for that, like the kind of thing where if you just commit to him being a reliever this year at a certain point in the season, he could be a impact guy there for you. But are you at all concerned that there's kind of a lack of depth and really a lack of high-end guys at the back end that you can trust?
On paper, yes. But at the same time, I think Griff's going to be there, which is, I think, adding a power arm and a guy who we haven't talked about enough, and someone that I think is legitimately going to make a difference in this bullpen and kind of has a feel of 2018 Sir Anthony is Drew Baker. Drew Baker's this kid who throws 100. There's been a lot of buzz all offseason that like he's the next big bullpen prospect to kind of get up here and make a difference. They haven't really had many of those guys, but
they've had none. I mean, Sir Anthony. That's it.
I think
Connor and Brogdon. That's it.
I think we're going to have to. I think we're going to have to come to terms with they're going to go the younger route. I don't think they. I definitely don't think they liked signing relievers again. I mean, every offseason's been a disaster. I don't think they like trading for older relievers to the deadline. I mean, Robertson. By the way, speaking of which, real quick, I would rather have Kimbrel for $10 million than Robertson for $10 million. Just want to put that out there.
Without a by miles. So like it's not even. I mean, Kimbrel's ceiling is like way higher than it's not even close. So yeah, I'm with you.
So I just think it's gonna be a lot of kids, and I think they're gonna put a lot of people in positions. I think they have some good stuff.
I'm okay with that. I mean, you're making me feel better.
That's how a lot of bullpens are put together these days.
Agree. We just haven't had kids. You forget it's an option. That doesn't happen here, Jack. Like we think about, we got to sign guys because they've not done this. They've been so bad at bringing up these kids who can be impact relievers. So that's a positive sign. I hope Griff, I hope Baker, I hope these kids can make a difference because I do think it's something they're going to need.
Well, and then hopefully another year of Brogdon getting more comfortable. Bellotti.
I forgot about Bellotti. Bellotti's good. I like Bellotti too. I like Connor and Bellotti. I think they're dudes.
I feel like I like Nick Nelson more than everyone, but
buddy, I'd be ecstatic to never see that guy throw another pitch for the Phillies.
Oh, that's not nice. Nick Nelson's pretty good.
Couldn't be more out on Nick Nelson.
No, Nick Nelson's pretty good.
Look, is your 13th guy in the pen? Sure, it's fine.
Buddy, we've watched a lot of bad 13th guys in the bullpen.
I know we have. That's what I'm saying. That's fine. I'll take it. All right. Do your thing, Slider. We're 41 minutes into the pod. The next 25 minutes are yours on Slider Guy or whatever the hell you want. Don't go to me. I'm kidding. Slider Guy. Go ahead. I don't even know his name. I don't know his name. I know he's Slider
Eric
Guy.
Ullman. Eric Ullman. Very excited.
So I'm giving you this time. Go ahead.
So, okay. I promise you, like I know in the past I've gone over the top sometimes. I've been known to do that in the past, and I'm trying my best not to do that anymore. So I'm trying to temper expectations, and that's probably fair because this kid's like whatever. He's a rookie last year that had a 4 ERA. But here's what I love is he had a 50%.
They're gonna go, but he's the next Ryan Madsen.
Yes.
Not a Slider Guy. You know what I mean? Like just come up with but I think he's the next Trevor Hoffman and he's going to be the greatest reliever we ever seen.
Could be Mariano. No, but so he had like a 50% whiff rate on the slider last year and he threw it about 20% of the time. Meanwhile, his fastballs got kind of lit up a little bit. So the Phillies being the team they are, like I'm sure they saw 50% whiff rate on a freaking slider, and they were like, okay, we'll increase that usage to 40-some%. We'll mix in our patented Phillies cutter at this point, which is what they do now, is they just have guys throw cutters.
What we do.
And he throws 95 to 97. He struck out Nick Castellanos this year on a slider.
So you're heading towards new Mo. That Mariano Rivera thing. That really is the end game of this.
No. I think he can. I think he has the ability to work his way into high leverage innings. Like,
cool.
I wasn't a Bellotti guy, and the fact that he was taking out big innings for this team, I thought was massive. So like, I think we need to start putting him I think starting the season. Like, I think people are going to think he is in the 8 to 10 in the bullpen. I think he's going to end up.
I think it's 5. I was going to say 5th. I think if I were to order my bullpen guys now, and obviously, they might see it differently, but it's Sir Anthony Alvarado. Sir Anthony Alvarado 1-2 without a doubt. And then, I mean, Kimbrel's going to be 3 in terms of where he'll be put. I don't know if he'd be there for me, but Kimbrel will be 3. But then it's Bellotti and Brogdon for me. Like, those are my next 2 guys in some order. Probably Brogdon, Bellotti, but they're right there. Strom, we haven't seen, but I think he's right there too.
Strom better.
Those are your 6, though, right? Like, those are at least going in the season. I think those are your 6 dudes that you count the most on. I think outside of young guys who have to prove.
So, and just looking at his stuff, I think the slider's really good. I think this pitch is going to be tough to kind of. I just think it's nasty. It's Bellotti-ish, but the thing is with his he throws the sinker, because he has a traditional sinker arm slot. He looks like he should be able to develop more depth to it. So we'll see if they can work on it a little bit. They can get him in the pitching lab or whatever. But like the thing that has me the most excited about it is like it's such like a Rays and Dodgers move where you just like you steal a guy. The guy was a rookie last year for the Cubs. He had a 2.80 ERA in AAA the year before. Like the righties hit, I think 200 again, 210 against him. He's young and it just feels like an asset that they kind of just stole from the Cubs. And the Cubs have, they've been bad in the last couple of years, but I think the one thing that they are doing well is developing some pitchers and guys that have some stuff. So I don't know, just screams like a thing that Ani and smart teams do. So
how great is it to have the Phillies like do smart stuff? Like the last year and a half, for the first time in the like 6 years we've done this podcast, or 5.5, whatever it is, we keep being like, oh, this seems like a thing smart teams do. It just feels so foreign. It's great, dude. It's so exciting. Yeah.
Well,
and we talked about the Army guy. What is his name? Noah. Yeah, Noah Song. Like that. That's the kind of stuff smart teams do. Like we're seeing so many of these things along the way where we're like, wow, like that's something the Rays would do. That's something the Dodgers would do. Like I want to like emphasize how freaking cool that feels to me, because I feel like we've asked for it so many times. Like I don't want it to be casual that we're just like, that's the thing smart teams do, and the Phillies are doing it. It's pretty cool.
Well, even like Bilotti. I mean, Bilotti was signed as like a minor league free agent or whatever. They turned him into a legitimate option. And one guy I think that we're not talking about as a member of this. Like, here's my thing. I think after Strom's going to be in the bullpen. Bilotti, Brogdon, Sir Anthony,
Alvarado,
Kimbrel, and Alvarado. Like those are the 6. I think everyone down from that point down, it's going to be rotating. And I think this kid's going to be a part of it. The Luis Ortiz kid, they picked up off waivers from the Giants. I like a lot. I actually do. Like
I know you do. Trust me, I know you do, buddy. I know you. I can see it on your face right now.
He's got something. He's got something. His slider. He's got a slider curveball combo that I think they can work with to make better. So he's got to look out for. But a guy that we don't bring up as really a member of this bullpen that I think has a chance to have a really, really good year is Coonrod. I mean, the guy 2 years ago was pretty good for this bullpen. Now gets fully healthy coming off the injury. Like doesn't get talked about as being a key member because I think people don't totally trust him. But there were stretches during 21 where he was just like lights out. And people thought he could be the closer. So, maybe another year, removed, Cutter working in there. Coonrod could work his way out there. So
yeah, it's a great point.
Drew Baker, Coonrod, this kid, Luis Ortiz, Griff McGarry, Nick Nelson.
It's good until you did Nick. It's good. It's dudes. Get some dudes.
Just get a bunch of dudes, especially in modern baseball.
So we always talk about, right? We talk about these teams with depth that keep bringing, like the Braves, just like bring a guy up. He pitches, 10 innings for them in a couple weeks and then goes back down and this. And they just have guys, and it's starting too. You need starter guys too. But I think it's really important. All right, last thing I got baseball wise, and then I'm guessing there's not much in the take bag, but
don't doubt me.
I mean, I hope there's not. We're 48 minutes in. Correa. I mean, Carlos Correa, buddy. He is still not signed at this moment. We did a whole pod being like, "Oh, Steve Big Ball's going," and he is. Credit, he tried to do it. This is a wild situation. Like I don't ever remember. We talked about it when it happened. I don't ever remember a situation like that where a team announced it and it was this big thing. And we've seen a few of those, like Frank Gore with the Eagles,
and
Aaron Judge. But that was like that night, and it was John Heyman saying it. This is the team saying, "Hey, we're signing Carlos Correa. This is happening." Like everyone in the world saying it. And then it's like, "Oh, it's not happening." And now for this to happen again, pretty wild, man. Pretty wild. I hope it doesn't work out where the Mets end up getting him cheaper and it ends up working out for the Mets, which is where I feel like this is trending. So I don't love it, but pretty wild.
Well, here's the thing is that I think it's hilarious how like Steve Cohen's like, "Oh, we're getting a difference maker here. Mm-hmm. He's the missing piece." And like Correa's great. I mean, Correa's awesome. But going from that to we have concerns about the medical, like there's got to be something really going on. Like to go from
yes,
or even them. So I think
especially
what's
because Cohen was like, I don't even care. We're good. Like we trust it. Like he made public comments about it. And for two teams to not sign this guy, I mean, that says something, dude.
Yeah, I think it ends up he signs like for 4 years or 5 years.
I agree. Or there's
And I
some
think,
sort of a team opt out. Maybe it could be something like that where the team can opt out after. There's going to be something.
There's going to be something. And if you're a Mets fan, there's a little part of you like, I know if we sign him long term, it's going to be a disaster. Like there's got to be a little part where you're like, he's great, maybe for 4 years, So it's funny. I think he's going to be a Met though, regardless.
I do too, and they'll be good, and
they'll be good, and whatever. He's going to torch us. And
I look, if anyone can get the most money out of the Mets in this situation, it's Scott Boras. So do your thing, Scott.
Yeah, do your thing. Do your thing.
All right, what do you got in the take bag?
What do I have in the take bag? Let's
slider guy, but we did that.
Oh, is Schwarber gonna bat closer to 250 next year with no shift? Like this?
So we have not talked enough about that. Like I liked like Joey Gallo, like those type of players who are kind of like lost. Like those are the guys I would have thought about. And he didn't. It's not a fit here right now. But I think there are guys who have historically been kind of, pushed to the side because of this, who could have, real, like, I don't know if it'll be, I mean, that would be what, a 30 or 40 point jump in average. That might be a little high, but I think like a 20 point jump in average, something, I think it's going to make a difference. I really do.
Well, the one thing that was making me think about it is that if you're Kyle Schwarber, I think for the last 4 years or whatever, he's kind of like, listen, I can't get through the shift anyway because I'm not fast enough. I'll just try to hit the ball over the fence. So I wonder if there's a part of Schwarber that's like the right side's kind of opened up now. He gets back to being like at Indiana and coming up. Like he was always a good hitter, a good pure hitter. So I wonder if he sacrifices a bit of the power for more base hits this year because like I think it's gonna be easier for him to hit him rather than the last couple of years where there's like a freaking third baseman playing.
It's a really good point. It's a really interesting point, man. I dig it.
So we'll see. Gene's gonna kill us, man. Like
I know.
It was crushing. Like I'm very happy with Trey Turner. There was a part of me that's like, well, damn it. Like
I know
I'm gonna miss Gene, man.
I'm gonna miss the players are gonna miss him, and I think you saw that in the. I think that was another thing in the yearbook that you saw, like the way those guys reacted to Gene every time. Even early on in the season, they showed him in a homer, and everyone in the dugouts just getting so excited as he's looking in, like. The dude was infectious. It was clear. And then you saw it in like the Instagram thing where all the players were doing the crying faces and I'll miss you and all that. Like it felt real. It felt like the connection that Gene had in that locker room was a real thing and a meaningful thing. So I'm with you. I think they're going to miss him. If nothing else, certainly behind the scenes. And you know what? I'm going to miss having Jimmy Cigarettes on the team. Like that was a fun freaking nickname. I love James Cigarettes, Jimmy Cigs, James Cigarellos. Like I loved having fun with it. It's all gone. It's a shame.
Well, that was your nickname back in the day. It was a good little throwback. Good little throwback for you.
They called me Jimmy Cigarellos.
Right. Yep. But this is a direct message to the entire fan base. When Gene returns, give him a real standing.
Big time.
We will. Standing
we will. I don't think you need to do that. I feel very confident they will.
Not like the double or whatever, the 200th double.
No, well, that was silly. I think people really will, though. I think people appreciate it. That was the silliest. That was the
funniest thing.
It's the funniest part of his whole tenure. The funniest thing that happened the entire time he was here with anyone was that moment. It was the best.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss Gene. And like the thing I miss the most about Gene is remember like how mad he would get if someone walked in front of him. Like if they walk the guy in front of him to get to him, he was always walking it off. Like if I could find a way to
and we saw it in the playoffs too.
It's so good. So gonna miss Gene. And I wish him the best, except against us, obviously, in Miami. And then final thing here. Congratulations, I think, to Jim Salisbury. Who
is it a congratulations? Do we know? Is he going somewhere new?
Well, no, I think he's leaving, retiring.
What a run. Whatever he's doing, what a run, man. I mean, the dean of Phillies baseball.
Yeah. And The real ones remember me getting out alpha by Jim Salisbury my first time.
I think we actually had someone in the chat. I think it's the top. There we go. Shout out to Jersey
Josh,
yeah, Jersey Josh. Of course, I should have known. Jim Salisbury needs to out alpha Jack one more time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who could forget? I couldn't. I'll tell you that much.
So I'm gonna miss Jim. I love his coverage. I love his tweets. I love his articles. Love like the 3 times a year where he gets into it with
yeah, like Nick Castellanos. We'll never forget that one, buddy.
Or Girardi and down in Dunedin with Gene a couple of years ago. So I'm gonna miss Jim, and I hope that he's covering Phil's baseball somewhere if he wants, or doing whatever he wants to do. I'm gonna miss Jim. There's nothing funnier. Like, he would always just give me crap about stuff, and it was just like, yeah, like this is it's looking at it, me, it's like, holy crap, like that's Jim Salisbury, so it's like, it's a bit like, this guy's messing with me, that's funny, but also like, holy cow, that's Jim Salisbury. So gonna miss him. Hopefully he's covering Phil's baseball, and good luck in whatever he's doing.
Yeah, and as both of us have interacted with Jim, have talked to him, like, couldn't be a nicer dude. Like, is an awesome guy. He's always been willing to come on our shows and all that kind of stuff. Like, just a really, really great guy. And again, to the point you made before, like, no offense to anyone else who covers the Phillies. The Phillies have a great group of journalists. Like, Jim was the dean. He was the number one dude. Like, he is the king of the Phillies beat. So it's going to be really weird if he's not on it. And, but if he's, either way, if he's happy, I'm happy. But, hopefully he ends up somewhere else covering the Phillies beat, because it certainly won't be the same without him. All right. You got any final thoughts, Fritzy?
Final thoughts. Dombrowski talked today where it seems like all the major moves are kind of done, which is sad. It
was a bummer. It was a bummer to hear.
Used to this time, really, free agency just starting to ramp up. But that's
they made none of their signings yet.
That's all right. But either way, we'll figure out stuff to talk about, I think. So yeah, we'll figure out stuff and hopefully get back on our once a week schedule up until. We
haven't been bad. We were on vacation for 1 week.
We've been great. 1 week. Started getting tweets. You
guys gonna do a serious? All right, all right. High Hopes history. We've been amazing. All right, we've gone like weeks at a time in the off season before. So you're welcome. Thank you very much.
Back.
We're back. Yeah, we're here weekly. We took off for Christmas. Sorry for taking off a week. We didn't even take off for Christmas, New Year's, whatever. Either way, I had a final thought and I lost it because I just got so frustrated right there, Jack. I was so frustrated that people give us crap for that. It makes me upset, Jack. It disappoints. It kills my soul. You're right. You know what? It probably wasn't anything that great anyway.
Be all right.
He's Fritz and Seltzer. See you later.